by the Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's News Leader.
Federal investigators are trying to figure out what caused a deadly Amtrak derailment in the middle of rush hour. I'm Kenneth Craig in DuPont, Washington, with a look at the scene.
The Republican tax bill is racing to the House floor today for a vote. I'm Roxana Saberi in New York with how the tax overhaul could affect you.
Good morning. We're glad to have you with us on this Tuesday, current time 6:30. Investigators in Washington state say they are still looking into why a 14-car train jumped the tracks on Monday morning south of Seattle, killing at least 3 people.
Most of the cars flew off an overpass, some hitting vehicles on the road below. Others were left dangling in the air. More than 70 people were sent to area hospitals. CBS's Kenneth Craig is in DuPont, Washington with the latest.
Federal investigators trying to determine what caused a train derailment in Washington state that killed at least 3 say they have recovered the event data recorder from the rear of the train. The National Transportation Safety Board says information so far indicates speed may have played a role.
Preliminary indications are that the train was traveling at 80 miles per hour in a 30 mile per hour track.
This was the first trip for the new Seattle to Portland route. One local official seems to have predicted just a few weeks ago that something like this would happen. The town of Lakewood's mayor, Don Anderson, had been very vocal at a city council meeting earlier this month, warning of the dangers of utilizing freight rail tracks for a high-speed passenger rail line.
This project was never needed and endangers our citizens.
But the tracks had been upgraded, so officials weren't concerned about derailment, but rather bringing a fast-moving train so close to pedestrians and cars. 13 of the train's 14 cars went off the tracks at an overpass, some tumbling onto Interstate 5.
The train just started to seem like go off on its side, and then and all of a sudden it went dark and stuff started flying around.
Investigators say it may take months before they know precisely what caused the accident. Kenneth Craig, CBS News, DuPont, Washington.
Kenneth tells us the National Transportation Safety Board says it has not yet finished interviewing the conductor or all the crew members on board to determine whether human error may have been to blame for that derailment.
Now, our other top story for you at the moment, Republicans in the House are expected to pass the GOP plan to overhaul the nation's tax code today before it heads to the Senate.
The bill's final passage would give President Trump his first major legislative victory. CBS's Roxana Saberi has the latest this morning from New York.
Republican lawmakers cleared another obstacle Monday in their race to pass their tax plan after Senator Susan Collins of Maine announced her support for the bill.
While it is by no means perfect, on balance, this reform bill will provide much-needed tax relief.
Senator Mike Lee of Utah, another holdout, also declared his support. A new nonpartisan analysis predicts the bill would raise taxes for only 5% of taxpayers next year, but over half of Americans would pay more by 2027 if a future Congress lets the individual tax cuts expire.
It's still the case that over time, the tax cuts will generally get smaller and smaller.
The analysis found that by far, the biggest beneficiaries would be the wealthy, a point seized on by Democrats.
This bill fails in its principal test of helping middle-income families, which it does not do. It's for corporations, big corporations, and high-income people. It is fiscally irresponsible to add to the debt.
But Republicans say the nearly $1.5 trillion tax plan will spur economic growth, in part by permanently slashing the corporate tax rate from 35% to 21%.
When you look at how this tax cut affects the economy, I think we're going to be in good shape. We're working people.
A deduction added to the bill last minute on Monday stirred controversy. Analysts predict it would mostly help wealthy commercial real estate investors like President Trump. Roxana Saberi, CBS News, New York.
Roxana tells us Senate Republicans appear to have the votes they need to pass the bill even without Senator John McCain of Arizona. He's at home battling brain cancer, tweeted yesterday that he plans to return to work after the holidays. And of course, we wish him the very best in that. What a tough battle he is waging.
No kidding.
More to follow on the tax debate later on the CBS Evening News.
Absolutely. What a warm morning it started off.
It's lovely out there,
Yeah.
actually, for
Last
December.
couple of
Yeah.
mornings have been fairly
Nice.
nice. A lot of melting going on. I think our temperatures are going to make a bit of a change later this week. There will also be changes with snow. There'll be plenty of it by tomorrow morning and then through the day tomorrow. Temperatures right now holding into the mid-30s. I expect our temperatures to stay in the mid-30s most of the day. We will see some wind kicking around the area through most of the afternoon. That cold front's heading this direction as you head into the evening. It means we'll probably have snow for your morning commute and probably the evening commute as well. We'll talk more in depth about what you can expect over the course of the next few days, of course, and the potential of a frigid Christmas. That's all coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Matt. Now 6:35, our top local story for you. Last night, city commissioners voted 4-1 to approve a salary increase for commissioners and the mayor. MTN's Morgan Davies reports from City Hall.
Commissioner Jeff Krause was the only vote against a pay raise for the commissioners and mayor. City manager Andrea Surratt compared salaries from Missoula, Boulder, Colorado, and Flagstaff, Arizona. In her proposal that was approved, commissioners will receive a monthly salary of $1,600 as opposed to the $1,200 a month they currently make. The mayor will see a raise to $2,400 as opposed to the $1,800 a month, which is that current salary.
Now this raise will go into effect 2 years from now in 2020. Reporting from City Hall, Morgan Davies, MTN News.
Now, this raise has to become a city ordinance, so there will be 2 readings of the ordinance in January before the raise can go into effect in 2020.
In other news this morning, the Bozeman School Board has decided to delay a decision on whether to sell the open space property at the Emerson Center. District had received 4 bids to purchase the property, but the highest bidder withdrew at the last minute. That leaves 3 bids ranging from $0 to $1.8 million. District's ownership of the Emerson lawn dates back to the 1800s. Now, on July 24th of this year, the district received a property appraisal that valued the parcel at $2.275 million.
Is it in the best interest of the school district to develop it as a park? Is it in the best interest of the school district to get full value for it? So they will be reviewing the 4 proposals and hopefully making a decision on either one or more of the proposals to move forward on for further negotiations, further refinement of proposal on exactly what will be done with the property.
We're told the board will decide what to do with the property in January. If you want to know who has placed the bids and what those bidders plan to do with the Emerson property, head on over to our websites.
And a 21-year-old Bozeman man was arrested after allegedly breaking into a medication cart at the Bozeman Health Deaconess Emergency Room. Jay Gibson was seen in Gallatin County Justice Court on Monday morning. According to charging documents, Bozeman police responded to a call of reported theft at the hospital at approximately 8:32 a.m. on Sunday. Nurse said she found the cart in one of the emergency rooms had been tampered with, and several containers of controlled substances were missing. When confronted by the hospital staff and ordered to remove his clothing, missing drugs fell out of Gibson's clothes and fell onto the floor. Gibson was charged with criminal possession of dangerous drugs and was released on his own cognizance.
In other court news, an 18-year-old remains in jail in connection with crashing into a Montana Highway Patrol car while MHP was investigating an unrelated fatal crash. That happened in Butte Friday evening. Butte police allege Michael Solomon of Boulder was intoxicated when he drove into a patrol car on Harrison Avenue that was blocking the scene of a fatal accident that had occurred earlier in the evening. Police say Solomon had 2 16-year-old boys with him in the car at the time of the crash. Butte police officer directing traffic saw the vehicle traveling south on Harrison and had to act fast.
She says she noticed a Suburban coming in their direction, traveling approximately 45 to 50 miles an hour. Did not appear that the vehicle was getting prepared to stop. Our officer then had to jump out of the way of the vehicle. The vehicle then struck the Montana Highway Patrol cruiser.
Now, Solomon faces a driving under the influence charge and 3 felony counts of criminal endangerment, among other charges. At the time of the crash, police were investigating an unrelated 2-vehicle crash that killed 32-year-old Cole Davis of Butte. That crash also remains under investigation.
And state leaders and outdoor groups gathered in Helena yesterday to kick off a new program to expand access to public land in Montana. Governor Steve Bullock and other speakers celebrated the Montana Public Land Access Network, or the MT plan. State Representative Alan Doan of Bloomfield sponsored a bill this year to create the program. It will collect donations that will then be offered as grants to private landowners who enhance access to public land through their own property. The Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation made the first donation, presenting a check for $25,000. Other groups have also announced plans to contribute. Bullock says that Montana has nearly 2 million acres of public lands that are currently inaccessible for recreation.
This network will allow Montanans, each and every one of us, to help further chip away at those 2 million acres and unlock more areas of public lands for all of us to enjoy.
Now, for anyone who wants to contribute to an MT plan, you can make a donation through the State Department of Natural Resources and Conservation. The DNRC leaders say that they could award the first grants through the program in mid-2018.
We'll continue to follow that story.
Yes, love it. We do have to take a quick break, but thank you so much for being a part of us with this warm Tuesday morning broadcast. Coming up on Montana This Morning, we'll be taking notice of the Montana-made product this week, heading up to Whitefish in just a moment.
But first, let's head to New York, check in with Gail King for a look at what's coming up at 7 o'clock on CBS This Morning.
Good morning to you. Ahead on CBS This Morning, we're in Washington State with the latest on that deadly train derailment. An Eagle Scout describes how he rushed in to help save people in the wreckage. And we'll talk with National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster about the president's new national security strategy. We'll see you 7 o'clock on the dot.